This map shows the geography of absolute isolation. That tiny speck of land is Easter Island, just 64 square miles of volcanic rock. Its nearest continental neighbor is Chile, 3,512 kilometers to the east. For most of human history, this kind of separation was a death sentence. 200,000 years ago, being cast into the unknown meant facing predators and starvation. Without the protection of the group, our ancestors survived because they stayed together. To be alone in the dark meant being hunted. But when European explorers finally reached this remote speck of land, they didn't find a struggling primitive camp. They found an island populated by nearly 1,000 massive stone giants. These figures, the Moai, weigh up to 12.5 tons and stand as tall as 10 meters. While their faces are their most famous feature, excavations have revealed that these statues possess entire stone bodies that have been buried beneath the earth for centuries. This find upends our basic assumptions about survival. It forces us to ask how a society, completely cut off from the rest of the world, managed to execute an engineering project that would challenge a modern construction crew. The people who built them were the Rapa Nui. They were Polynesian navigators who crossed thousands of miles of open ocean to settle here between 300 and 1200 AD, bringing sugarcane, taro, and livestock to start a new civilization from scratch. Between 1250 and 1500 AD, the Rapa Nui began carving the Moai. These weren't just decorations, they were representations of deceased ancestors and powerful living chieftains designed to project authority across the landscape. You can see the hierarchy of the tribe in the stone itself. Many statues feature these red stone topknots. They represented the hair of a chieftain, a visual signal of the status and power the figure was meant to embody. There is a specific logic to where these statues look. Almost all of them were positioned with their backs to the ocean, facing inland toward the villages. By facing the tribe, the Moai acted as a psychological anchor. They provided the people with a sense of ancestral protection, a constant reminder of the social order required to stay alive on a tiny rock surrounded by thousands of miles of empty water. Transporting these giants was a logistical nightmare. Nearly 900 statues had to be moved from the central quarry to the island's perimeter, across uneven volcanic terrain without the help of wheels, pulleys, or draft animals. The solution wasn't mechanical, it was social. Humans survived the Pleistocene because we learned to cooperate at a scale no other species could match. The Moai were the physical result of that cooperation. In 2011, researchers tested this. By finding the center of gravity and using 3 ropes, a team moved a 5-ton replica with 18 people pulling in rhythm. They created a rocking motion, allowing the statue to walk upright. Teamwork and physics could move these giants. The Moai represent the logical conclusion of that social advantage. Thousands of hours of synchronized labor made visible in stone. But that social union eventually broke. Sometime after 1722, every single upright Moai on the island was deliberately toppled from its platform. The collapse began with the trees. Through overfarming or the introduction of invasive rats that ate the seeds, the island became completely deforested. This was a physical catastrophe. Without timber, the Rapa Nui couldn't build canoes for deep-sea fishing or fires for warmth. The very resources that sustained the tribe were gone. This scarcity triggered an ancient survival alarm. Our brains run a sociometer, a built-in gauge that monitors how much the group protects us. When the food ran out, that meter dropped. The safety of the tribe was replaced by the terror of dying alone, and they turned on each other in a desperate civil war. By toppling the Moai, the Rapa Nui physically dismantled the symbols of the unity that had once kept them alive. In a world of starvation, the ancestors could no longer protect them, and the monuments to their cooperation were treated as targets. The end came in the 19th century, when slave traders and missionaries arrived on the island, devastating the remaining population and eroding the last of their cultural history. Foreign pathogens did what the Civil War couldn't. Diseases the Rapa Nui had never encountered moved through the vulnerable community, silencing the island's oral history as the the remaining elders died out. Today, researchers have re-erected many of the statues, and the island is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Moai stand as a record of what human cooperation can build, and a silent demonstration of what happens when that cooperation is traded for survival in a dying landscape.